Most men walk through life without really knowing where they stand. They assume that if women aren't openly chasing them, if no one is making bold moves, then something must be missing. I guess I'm just not that attractive. But that assumption? It's not just wrong, it's backwards. Because the truth is, some of the most attractive men are the ones who doubt themselves the most. Not because they lack value, but because they've never been taught how attraction actually shows up. You see, women don't always express interest in obvious ways. They don't usually walk up and announce it. They signal it through eye contact, through subtle shifts in behavior, through energy you were never trained to notice. And if you've been missing those signals, you might have been surrounded by attraction your entire life without realizing it. So before you assume you're invisible, before you question your worth, let me shift your perspective. Because what you're about to understand could completely change how you see yourself. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever locked eyes with a woman, and instead of immediately looking away, she held your gaze just a second longer than expected? That moment, right there, that pause, most men dismiss it. But psychologically, that extra second is everything. People don't hold eye contact with someone who doesn't interest them. And when she looks away, then looks back again, that's not random. That's curiosity turning into courage. She's not saying anything out loud, but her nervous system is asking, "Did you notice me?" And many men miss it, not because it isn't happening, but because they don't trust what they're seeing. Now let's go deeper. Have you ever noticed women positioning themselves near you? Maybe at a cafe, at a gathering, at the gym. They don't approach directly, but somehow they keep ending up in your space. That's not coincidence, that's strategy. Attraction for many women isn't about chasing, it's about creating opportunity. They move closer, not to force interaction, but to increase the chance of connection. And if you're unaware, you assume it's random. But if you're aware, you start to see the pattern. Here's another one most men overlook. When you speak, people listen. Not because you're loud, not because you're trying to dominate, but because something about your presence pulls attention. Conversations quiet down. People turn toward you. There's a subtle shift in the room. That's not luck, that's presence. And presence is one of the most powerful forms of attraction there is, especially as you get older. Because at a certain point, it's no longer about being flashy. It's about being grounded. Now pay attention to this one. It's subtle, but incredibly revealing. Mirroring. You shift your posture. She shifts hers. You slow your speech. She follows your rhythm. You lean in slightly, and so does she. She's not doing it on purpose. Her body is syncing with yours. That's what happens when someone feels both safe and drawn to you. It's not imitation, it's connection. Let's talk about compliments. Not the obvious ones. Not, "You look nice," but the deeper ones. "You have a calming presence." "I feel really comfortable around you." "I like your energy." Those aren't surface-level observations. Those are emotional responses. She's not reacting to how you look. She's reacting to how you feel, and that is far more powerful. Now here's something most men completely misinterpret. You catch people looking at you. Across the room, in passing, quick glances, then they look away. You think nothing of it, but humans are wired to notice what stands out. We don't repeatedly look at things that don't interest us. So when someone looks away, and then checks again, that's awareness. That's curiosity. That's attraction trying not to be obvious. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Watch how other men respond to you. Do they respect you? Listen when you speak? Introduce you with subtle admiration? Or do they compete? Try to outtalk you? Interrupt you? Shift attention when you're around? Both reactions mean the same thing. You matter in the room, and women notice that instantly, because social dynamics speak louder than words ever could. Now, let's talk about one of the strongest signals of all. Women assume you have options. They say things like, "You're probably talking to a lot of women. I can't believe you're single." Even when it's not true. Why? Because your energy doesn't feel desperate. You're not chasing. You're not forcing. You're not trying to prove yourself. And that calm, grounded energy, it feels like abundance, and perception becomes reality. Now pause for a second. If even a few of these signs feel familiar, then the issue was never your attractiveness, it was your awareness. Because most men were never taught to measure themselves this way. You were taught to look for clear results. Yes or no. Interest or rejection. But attraction doesn't work like that. It's subtle, layered, often quiet. And if you've been trained to ignore subtlety, you've likely missed more than you realize. So now the real question becomes, what changes when you start seeing clearly? You stop chasing validation. You stop assuming disinterest. You stop shrinking in moments that actually mattered. And instead, you begin to choose. You walk into a room differently. You speak without rushing. You hold eye contact just a second longer. You allow silence instead of filling it. And something shifts. Not because you became someone new, but because you stopped getting in your own way. Because attraction isn't something you force. It's something you allow. And once you recognize it, you don't wonder where you stand anymore. You stand firmly. And the right people, they feel it without you saying a word.